Imagine for a second that you could press a button and turn off all of your emotions forever. No more sadness, no more anxiety, no more anger, and no more heartbreak. You would be a completely rational, purely logical creature. Pop culture tells us that this would make you a superhero. We idolize characters like Spock from Star Trek or hyperlogical robots. We think that our feelings are just fluffy, messy distractions that get in the way of making smart choices and being successful. We tell ourselves to stop being so emotional. We try to bury our feelings so we can think clearly. We view emotions as a weakness, a flaw in the human design. But what if I told you that without emotions, you would actually become completely paralyzed? What if losing your feelings didn't make you a genius, but actually ruined your entire life in a matter of months? We don't have to guess what happens when you lose your emotions. We know exactly what happens because of a famous medical case studied by neuroscientist Antonio Damasio. He had a patient famously referred to as Elliot. Elliot was a highly successful businessman, a great husband, and a brilliant thinker, but then Elliot developed a small brain tumor. The doctors successfully removed it, and his intelligence, his memory, and his logic were all perfectly intact. He could still pass every math and IQ test with flying colors, but the surgery had accidentally damaged a specific part of his frontal lobe. It completely severed the connection between Elliot's logical brain and his emotional brain. Elliot literally could not feel emotions anymore. And what happened next shocked the medical world. Elliot's life completely collapsed. Because he had no feelings, he could no longer make simple decisions. If you asked him to schedule a meeting, he would spend 3 hours analyzing the logical pros and cons of every single day of the week, but he could never actually choose one. Without a gut feeling, without a sense of preference or desire, logic alone led to endless, infinite loops. He lost his job, he lost his marriage, he went bankrupt, all because he lost his emotions. This case study proved something that changes how we view human nature forever. Emotions are not the opposite of logic. Emotions are the foundation of logic. They are the ultimate biological software program, coded over millions of years, designed strictly to keep you alive. To understand why we have this complex emotional software, we have to look at how incredibly weak the human body is compared to the rest of the animal kingdom. If you drop a tiger in the jungle, it survives because it has razor-sharp claws, massive teeth, thick fur, and incredible speed. It is a solitary killing machine. It doesn't need friends. It doesn't need to feel empathy. But drop a single solitary ancient human in that same jungle and they are going to die very quickly. We have no armor, we have flat teeth, we are terrible at sprinting. Biologically, we are essentially a free lunch for predators. Our species only survived because of one specific evolutionary trick: social cooperation. We realize that while one human is weak, a group of 50 humans working together with spears and fire is the most dangerous force on the planet. But here is the million-dollar question. How do you get 50 selfish, hungry, wild animals to stay together, share their food, and protect each other instead of just killing each other for resources? You cannot use logic. Cavemen didn't have legal contracts, police forces, or moral philosophy books. Evolution had to wire the rules of survival directly into our nervous systems. That wiring is what we call emotions. Let's break down the survival toolkit, starting with the most ancient and primal emotions. The bodyguards: fear and disgust. Fear is incredibly obvious. If our ancestors didn't feel intense, paralyzing fear when they heard a stick snap in the dark bushes, they would have been eaten by a lion. Fear floods your body with adrenaline, dilates your pupils, and pumps blood to your legs so you can run. But disgust is just as important. Disgust is your biological immune system acting before you even touch something. When you smell rotting meat or see something covered in mold, your face scrunches up, your nose blocks the air, and your stomach turns. That feeling is evolution, physically forcing you away from dangerous bacteria and pathogens that could wipe out the entire tribe. Without disgust, ancient humans would have eaten poisoned food and gone extinct. But what about the social emotions? How do emotions regulate the tribe? Let's look at anger. We often think of anger as a negative, destructive force. But biologically, anger is a boundary-setting tool. It is the emotion of justice and fairness. Imagine an ancient tribe where one guy refuses to hunt, but eats all the food that the others gathered. If the tribe didn't feel anger, that free rider would drain all their resources and they would starve. Anger motivates the group to confront the cheater, punish them, and enforce the rules. Anger ensures that cooperation remains fair. Without it, social groups would collapse under the weight of selfish individuals. Then there is sadness. When an animal in the wild gets injured or sick, it hides quietly so predators don't find it. But humans do the exact opposite. We cry, we sob, we make our faces wet and our voices loud. Tears are a highly visible physical flag of distress. Sadness is an evolutionary signal specifically designed to tell the rest of the tribe, I am hurt, my resources are low, and I desperately need help. And because we are wired for empathy, seeing someone else cry literally triggers discomfort in our own brains, forcing us to go over and help them. Crying is a survival mechanism that summons the tribe's protection. This brings us to the most powerful survival tools of all: love, joy, and empathy. The social glue that binds the tribe together. Reptiles lay their eggs in the dirt and abandon them immediately. If a baby snake is hungry, the mother snake does not care, but human babies are born completely helpless. They require years of constant, exhausting, selfless care. If humans were purely logical, rational creatures, no one would ever have a baby. It is a massive drain on your food, your sleep, and your personal survival. So evolution had to drug us. The brain produces massive amounts of a chemical called oxytocin, often called the love hormone. It literally forces us to feel intense, irrational pleasure and attachment when we hold our children or bond with our friends. Love isn't just a poem or a song, it is a biological bribe. It makes you willing to sacrifice your own food and even your own life to protect another person. This ensures the survival of your genes and the survival of the tribe. And this empathy extends to the whole community thanks to mirror neurons in our brain. When you see someone smile, your brain simulates a smile. When you see someone get a paper cut, you literally flinch because your brain simulates their pain. We are biologically networked together. Empathy ensures that if the tribe is suffering, you suffer too. You cannot ignore them because their pain becomes your pain. But what happens if you break the rules of the tribe? This is where the darkest and most painful social emotions come in: shame and guilt. Have you ever done something embarrassing in public and you felt a hot flush in your cheeks, your stomach dropped, and you wanted the floor to swallow you whole? Why does social embarrassment physically hurt? In the ancient world, your reputation was the difference between life and death. If the tribe decided you were a thief, a coward, or untrustworthy, they wouldn't just give you a bad review. They would exile you. And remember, a human alone in the wild dies. Exile was a death sentence. So evolution had to make sure you were absolutely terrified of social rejection. Modern neuroscience has proven this using MRI brain scans. When a person is socially rejected, the exact same pain centers in the brain light up as when a person is physically punched in the face. Your biology does not know the difference between a broken arm and a broken reputation. Guilt and shame are painful. Internal alarm bells screaming at you to fix your behavior before the tribe kicks you out to die. Which brings us to the ultimate problem we face today: the modern mismatch. Our emotions are incredible survival tools, but they were coded for small tribes of about 50 people living in a dangerous jungle. Today, we live in massive, safe cities, but we are still running that exact same ancient caveman software, and it is causing a massive epidemic of anxiety and depression. Think about social media. When you post a picture and someone leaves a mean comment, or you get publicly criticized online by thousands of strangers, your logical brain knows you are safe in your bedroom. But your biological emotional software doesn't know what the internet is. Your amygdala perceives thousands of angry people rejecting you. It triggers the ancient shame response. Your body dumps stress hormones into your blood, your heart races, and you feel physical panic because your primal wiring thinks you are about to be exiled from the tribe and eaten by wolves. We are experiencing a constant overload of our survival system. We are reacting to emails and text messages with the same chemical intensity that our ancestors used to fight off literal predators. So, how do we fix this? We can't turn our emotions off. As we learned from the medical case of Elliot, turning off our feelings destroys our ability to function as humans. Instead, we have to understand them. Once you realize that your anxiety, your anger, and your sadness are not flaws or weaknesses, but ancient bodyguards desperately trying to keep you alive, you can start to take back control. You can feel the panic of a social media comment, take a deep breath, and tell your ancient caveman brain, "Hey, thank you for trying to protect me, but there is no lion here. We are safe." Emotions are the brutal, messy, brilliant language of human survival. They are the reason we climbed down from the trees, banded together, and built a world. They are not the opposite of logic. They are the deeply human logic of connection. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the primal wiring of the human mind. If this changed how you view your own feelings, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and drop a comment down below. Tell us what everyday human behavior drives you crazy, and do you think it has a hidden biological origin? Stay curious, and we will see you in the next one.